Welcome back, it's Seth here. Today I'd like to discuss one of the questions that I get asked a lot. That is, how should I invest my first $10,000? Honestly, that's a great question, and when I started my investment journey, I was asking the exact same thing. What makes the first $10,000 scary is the fact that you've worked really hard to save this money and you really don't want to lose it. So the ultimate worry is that you might invest in the wrong thing and regret it later. And let me be honest, investing isn't really that hard. As long as you choose investments that are proven and safe in the long term, you'll do just fine. So personally for me, I'm the type of person that learns by doing. So when I started to invest, I really figured out what was for me and what wasn't. But I do wish that someone had at least walked me through some of my options. So in this video, I'm going to highlight 4 different ways that you can invest your first $10,000 and make money in the long run. But before I dive deeper into this video, please hit the like button down below, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to help grow our channel. Now that you hit the like button, let's dive in. So the first way that you can invest your $10,000 is by investing in the S&P 500 index. I personally believe that almost everyone should have some portion or a big portion of their money invested in the S&P 500 index. The S&P stands for Standard & Poor, and the 500 means that this index contains the 500 best companies in North America. Some of the companies that make up the S&P 500 index are Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, and Tesla. So when you buy one share of the S&P 500 index, you're collectively buying 500 different companies with that one share. So if you're new to investing, you may think buying an individual stock may be better. So that individual stock that you purchase tanks, you're probably going to lose a lot of your money. Whereas with the S&P 500 index, if even a few companies tank, but the rest do well, you still come up on top. And the S&P 500 has a really good track record. Since 1957, this benchmark index has delivered an average annual return of 10%. So to give you another perspective how strong the S&P 500 index is, it is found that 88% of large cap funds have failed to beat the S&P 500 over the last 15 years. S&P 500 is considered the standard index where other fund managers will compare their investments to the returns of the S&P 500. So in the long run, if most fund managers are struggling to beat the S&P 500, I would say it's a great investment for everyone. So you're probably wondering, how can I buy the S&P 500 index? So you don't actually go buy the actual index. You will go buy a low-cost ETF, which will track the S&P 500 index. And a few of these popular ones are VOO, SPLG, IVV, and the one that's super popular right now, SPY. And for my Canadian people that are watching this video, I personally use ZSP, which is great so that I don't need to convert my Canadian dollars into US dollars to buy this ETF. And I do find that ZSP ETF has done really well, actually exceptionally well. When you track the performance of the ETF, it has averaged a 14.87% return in the past 10 years. And SPY has averaged a 12.88% average return over the last 10 years. Both are great indexes and both will make you money in the long run. So definitely explore these indexes and see which one you like better. And I would buy one and pretty much stick to it. Now moving on to the second way you can invest your $10,000. That is by investing in tech indexes or the NASDAQ 100. Something I really do recommend, especially if you're young, to get involved in technology. I really think technology is changing the world, and in my opinion, I think we're just getting started. There are already so many technical advances, from healthcare to our cars to our everyday life and how we interact with others. And this also translates to that we will probably see higher growth in technology in the future, where tech giants that are already established will keep innovating to create better products, and you'll see smaller startups become the next Apple or Amazon. One thing that I will caution you about technology is that it's highly volatile. But if you're young and willing to wait for the long run, you will most likely come up on top. And if you want to get started in tech, you could buy the NASDAQ 100 index. The NASDAQ contains 100 of the best tech companies in North America. So similar to what we discussed before, we're looking for low-cost ETFs, and 2 of the popular ones are QQQ and QQM. And if we look at QQQ, we can see that it's substantially increased in price over the past few years. And the 10-year average annual return is 17.64%. That's honestly amazing returns. And I know one question that you're probably going to have, that a lot of the companies in the NASDAQ 100 are similar to the companies that are in the S&P 500. And you would be correct. But you need to understand that this is a concentrated index, meaning that it's only focused on tech, where the S&P 500 has companies from all different sectors and industries. And I'll give you guys a tech index to invest in. This is one of my favorites, and this is VGT, Vanguard Information Technology Index. I've owned this for a little while, and I can say that it gives phenomenal returns, but that also means that it's volatile. But if you're okay to wait it out in the long term, it should be fine. The last 10 years average annual return is hovering around 19.76% for this ETF. That is just crazy good returns, and if you're interested in this ETF, I would definitely recommend to check it out. So now moving towards the third way you can invest your $10,000, that is by buying dividend-paying companies or ETFs. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent here. I personally do not own a lot of dividend-paying companies or ETFs. And that is because I'm really focused on growth right now versus getting cash flow. And I probably will slowly make my transition to dividend-paying companies, but not until probably my mid-50s. But if you're someone that wants less risk and a bit more stability, and you want more cash flow, then dividend-paying companies and ETFs are for you. If you're looking for an ETF, SCHD is a great ETF which pays a healthy dividend. And if you're looking for a company that pays good, stable dividends, there's Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and Home Depot. These companies are known to be more stable and less risky, so they won't drop as much in price. And that also means that there won't be a lot of capital growth in the short run. But dividend-paying companies are great if you're looking for stability and less volatility. So if you're looking to reduce your risk, I would say dividend-paying companies or ETF are great. And now moving on to the fourth way that you can invest your $10,000, and that is by investing in cryptocurrency. Full disclaimer, this is a very, very risky investment. And if you're faint of heart, I would not recommend that you invest in cryptocurrencies. Personally, I wouldn't even advise anyone to invest more than 10% of their portfolio in cryptocurrencies. The two cryptos that I personally have dabbled with is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Even though Bitcoin and Ethereum are known to be safer cryptos, let me walk you through how much Bitcoin fluctuates in price. So if you're someone that got caught up in the hype and you purchased $10,000 worth of Bitcoin in November of 2021, this is when one Bitcoin was trading for $65,000. So the same Bitcoin 1 year later is trading at $16,000 for one Bitcoin. That means the price of Bitcoin has dropped by almost 75% in a span of 1 year. So what this means for you is, if you had invested $10,000 in Bitcoin in November 2021, in November 2022, your investment would only be worth $2,500. So if you're someone who's going to lose sleep when you buy cryptocurrencies, I would not recommend you go and invest your $10,000 in crypto. I know there is this allure that you're going to make a lot of money in crypto, but this usually comes from a lot of small meme coins. And I'll be very honest with you, that is not investing, that is pure gambling. You're purely banking on people to pump a meme coin and you capitalizing on it at the peak. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. Most people lose their shirt when they buy a meme coin. And just earlier this year, that Tour girl created her own crypto called Hawkcoin, and most people that jumped in to purchase this coin absolutely lost all their money. But if you really want to do this, you can, but know your risk tolerance and how much you can afford to lose. So these are 4 different ways that you can invest your first $10,000. But in the long-term vision, if you're someone that wants to make more than $1 million, you're probably gonna have to invest a lot more than $10,000 to get there. So also right now, I would focus on generating more income. So if that means you either have to go find a job that pays you more, try harder for that promotion, or go out and gain a skill that can make you more income, I would focus on that now. And the last thing I would say is, I would spread your money across different investments, not just into one investment vehicle. To provide you an example and to give you full transparency of my portfolio is divided as the following. Around 30% of my money is invested in the S&P 500 Index ETF, which is ZSP. I have around 60% of my money invested in tech companies and the tech index. Some of these companies consist of Microsoft and Apple, and the only tech index that I'm investing in right now is VGT. And by end of the year, 10% of my portfolio will be allocated to cryptocurrencies, which will consist of only Bitcoin and Ethereum, and absolutely no meme coins. So I would say first, it's important to make goals from what you want to achieve from investing, and then you allocate your money accordingly. So that's all for now. I hope you guys enjoy this video and you guys take away something from this video to help you invest better in the future. Please stay tuned for future videos. And until next time, remember to keep investing.